Hello, Year 4. I hope you're all well and are ready for some literal questions today in reading. Before we get into that, of course, we need to recap our 8 bits of key vocabulary that we looked at yesterday. So let's go through them. I am going to call out the word, and I would love it if you could do the action to your computer screen in response. Okay, so let's get started with sorely. Sorely. Hopefully a lot of hands going up here, up high, because it means very or extremely, sorely. Grubby, grubby. So grubby means dirty or messy, so we used the action yesterday as if you're washing your face or there's loads of grime and stuff on your face, so grubby. Next word, crowding, crowding. Hopefully lots of arms going like this, almost like a hug, because it means to gather round tightly around something. If there's something interesting to watch, you'd crowd around it. Tattered, tattered. It means to shred or rip something, so we should have loads of sort of clawing, scratching, ripping, pulling apart. So it means when something's completely torn and ripped. Next word, puzzled, puzzled. Confused or baffled by something. So you have to really think about it. Puzzled. Next word, errand. Errand. So an errand, remember, is a quick trip or a job that you've got to do. So we use the expression running errands. So errand was our action yesterday. Penultimate word, shifting. Shifting, which means to move or change. So we were thinking about shifting gears in the car. So moving it around from first gear, second gear, third gear, shifting. And final word, can you remember what it is? It is, of course, guzzle. Guzzle. And one that I'm sure you guys will remember, which means to eat or drink in a greedy fashion. So guzzling, as if you're really, really shoving it in. Excellent job, guys. Hopefully we managed to remember most of, if not all of your actions and words today. If you didn't, now is a great time to practice that by looking at our vocab do now. So I'm just going to share my screen. These are, of course, all those words again. What I would like you to do here, you need to write the 2 synonyms in each sentence. So, what's a synonym again? Can we remember what a synonym is? It is, of course, a word that means the same as or has a similar meaning to something else. So, let's look at this first one. Solomon was tired after running errands in town, but still had many chores to do at home. So, in your books, you don't need to write out the whole sentence or on a bit of paper. Can you write down the 2 words that are synonymous, that are synonyms, that mean the same as one another in that sentence? Pause the video and have a think. So, of course, those ones are errands, which we know means job or a task, and then the other one is chores. So all you'd need to do on a bit of paper or in your books is just write number 1, errands and chores. So there's the first one done. Now can you pause the video and can you do the 2 sentences as well after that one, number 2 and 3. Off you go. So hopefully you've had a chance to look through and spot where the synonyms are in these 2 ones. So after guzzling down a juicy burger, Siri had room to devour an ice cream sundae. So hopefully we spotted that guzzling is one word that means to eat, sort of in a really kind of greedy way, and then the other is devour, 2 really good synonyms. Then, even after Miss Jones explained the puzzling maths problem, Emily still found it rather confusing. So hopefully we spotted the 2 words that are synonyms are puzzling, remember, quite confusing, and of course we have confusing here as well. So those are the pairs of synonyms. Now for the next part of this do now, you have to write the 2 antonyms in each sentence. So if synonyms are 2 words that mean the same as one another, what are antonyms? So hopefully we'll all know that antonyms are words that mean the opposite of one another. So have a look at these 3 sentences here that use those key bits of vocabulary. Can you spot the 2 antonyms in each one of those sentences? And can you write those antonyms in your books? Pause the video and resume it once you've done these 3 questions. Off you go. So let's go through. After a violent game of football, Arlo's pristine uniform was now tattered. So pristine means incredibly clean and means his uniform was well presented. And of course, tattered means ripped and torn apart, tattered. So those 2 are antonyms, sorry. Osama stopped shifting in his seat after Miss Boots told him to sit still. So shifting means to move around quite a lot, and still is an antonym because it means, well, to stay in one place. And then the final pair of antonyms. The team was expecting a large crowd to watch their match, but only a few people turned up. So crowd means a lot of people, and a few is maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 or a small group. So those are the pairs of antonyms here. Make sure you go through those and in a different color pen or pencil, just tick or cross those depending on how you did. So at this stage in the lesson, what I would like you to do, just to recap your mind, is to go to either read through your I Was a Rat text by yourself on your computer or on the sheet. Or if you don't have those, if you go onto the home learning document, there will be a link saying for the video of Mr. Parker reading the chapter again, click here. In that case, click here, watch that video of me going through the text one more time. And if you would then like to go through it again, this time with it on mute, that would be absolutely great. And I'd just like you to think about what is this text about and what has happened in this text so far. So pause the video now, read through the text one more time, either through the video or by yourself. And then we'll go through and do a quick recap of I Was a Rat by Philip Pullman. Off you go. So hopefully that's given you a chance to either watch the video of me reading the chapter or for you to read through it yourself, or both perhaps. And so what was I Was a Rat about? So to give it a couple of seconds just to pause if you'd like and talk to your partner if you have a partner, someone in the room, family member, or just to think for you, about it yourself. So hopefully we remember that yesterday we had 2 characters, Bob and Joan, and they had a knock at the door, and there was this boy here, dressed as a page boy, and who claimed that he was a rat. And Joan and Bob very kindly brought him in and sort of fed him and washed him and sort of taught him some basic manners and were very, very kind to him. So we are going to be looking at some literal questions today. So here is an example of a literal question where, of course, the answer we can find in the text. So the question here is, what did Bob think of the boy's uniform on page 9? And we have our steps to success here. So I've got my my workbook over here. It's got the question written down, and I've also printed off the steps to success so that I can have those to hand, so it's really easy to access. And over here, we have page 9, where I know that the answer is going to be featuring. So let's read the question. What did Bob think of the boy's uniform? So we need to underline the keywords in this question. So the keywords are going to be Bob, because it's what he thought of the question, what he thought of the uniform. It's going to be uniform as well. There's only one uniform, so we don't need to underline boys, because his is the only uniform that they mention in the chapter. So really the keywords are Bob and uniform. So we've underlined the keywords in the question. Now we're going to skim and scan the text for those keywords and see if we can find either Bob or uniform. So let's go through. Let's scan together and see if we can find it. So we have Bob here. Of course, Bob is going to come up quite a few times as he's one of the main characters. So really, uniform's the main one we're looking for. but it's what Bob thinks about it as well. Okay, I think I've spotted it. Here we go. So it says, "Oh," said Bob, "you've got a nice uniform on." So we can definitely underline that word there. So we've skimmed and scanned for the keywords in the text. Next, we need to read around the keywords. So that means from the beginning of the sentence or the paragraph to the end of that sentence or the paragraph. "Oh," said Bob, "you've got a nice uniform on. Anyway, I expect you're in service, are you?" So we've read around the keywords, and now we are in the position to answer our question. So we need to think about, what did Bob think of the boy's uniform? Well, here it says, "You've got a nice uniform on." So that tells us that he thinks he's got a nice uniform. So how are we going to answer this question as a full sentence? So remember, we're going to reword the words in the question. So Bob thought the boy's, remember our possessive apostrophe because the uniform belongs to the boy, uniform was nice. There we go. I'll just slide that over so we can see. So now that I've written my answer, I need to check that it makes sense. Bob thought the boy's uniform was nice. Definitely works sense grammatically. Yep, I have no problem with that at all. Now, does it answer the question? And this is why it's really important that we reword the question in our answer to make sure that it does actually answer that. So what did Bob think of the boy's uniform? Bob thought the boy's uniform was nice. Yes, that is definitely a direct answer to that question. So yes, I can say it definitely answers the question. So I'm happy with that, and that means I can move on to the next one. So let's have a look. These literal questions I've split up into a few different pages, just so it means that they're really nice and easy to write, really nice and easy to see. So we have the first 3 questions here. What I'd like you to do is pause the video. You've got all the steps to success in front of you, and then can you write down in either your book or on your sheet on a page question 1, 2, and 3, and resume when you are ready to move on. Okay, off you go. So hopefully that has given you enough time to answer just these first 3 questions here. So let's go through them. Question number 1. What kind of text is this? Is it fiction, play script, newspaper article, or non-fiction? Of course, this is a fiction text. So make sure you've got a different color, as I say, pen or pencil, and then just going through and ticking and crossing these. So fiction means that it's been made up. Question 2, what would Bob and Joan's daughter become if they'd had one? So it says that they did, all of their family sort of did the same thing generation after generation, so she would be a washerwoman. And do you know what the son would have been? He would have been a cobbler, wouldn't he? But yes, the answer to that question is that she would have been a washerwoman. And number 3, what answered the knock on the door first? And that was a cuckoo clock. It said that the cuckoo clock answered the door first. Right, now on to the next questions. Now, this is only one question, but you have 4 different statements. What you've got to do is tell me, are they true or false? So again, pause the video, steps to success are right there, and then resume when you are finished. Off you go. Okay, hopefully that's given you a chance to answer question 4. So let's go through them. So the boy has a name. That's false. He was never given a name, he said. The boy learned how to use a spoon. That is true. Joan's father used to make her bread and milk. That is false. And the boy used to have a neat uniform. That is true. So mark those as we go along. And let's move on to the third section. Here we have question 5 and 6. So in both of these questions, you just need to choose one of those options. Okay, again, pause the video, give you a couple of minutes, and come back when you have finished. Off you go. So, question 5. where did Bob and Joan take the boy? They took him to the kitchen, of course. And question 6, who worked out what the boy did for a job? Who worked that out? That was, of course, Bob. And now the final section. So what you've got to do here is match these statements together. So in your book or on whatever bit of paper you're using, all you have to do is just write the boy and then maybe just a small sideways arrow and then whichever one matches. Okay? And once you have finished question 8, your extension is write a paragraph explaining where you think the boy came from. And it would be really great to see some answers for this uploaded onto Seesaw as well. But at least question 8 needs to be done. So pause the video now and we'll go through the answer to question 8 once you have finished. So number 8, hopefully we said that Joan said that boys have manners. Hopefully you knew that Bob said that everyone has a name, and the boy said that they were good at their job. And as for the extension paragraph, hopefully you've had a chance to write a paragraph explaining where you think the boy came from. If you haven't, maybe it would be a really good idea to test yourself, and I can't wait to read some of these afterwards. So very well done, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys came up with and what you produced in that. Have a lovely rest of your day and enjoy your home learning. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.